for joining us for another edition of Coach's Corner. We're here at the Tivoli Tap House where you can get some lunch, dinner, because they have great food and great beer. I'm Sarena Espinoza, and here tonight we have Javis Arellano helping me co-host the show tonight. How are you doing?
Good, Sarena. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited for the show. So why don't you tell the audience what we have coming up?
Today on the show we have Coach Bahl from the men's basketball team. He's going to talk about his season, how it's going, how this weekend turned out, and we also have women's basketball coach Tanya Haave, as well as a basketball player, Losalini Katia, who joins us, a freshman. She's very interesting. She's very excited to be here at Metro, so we're going to get to know her a little bit more.
Awesome. So a lot of great basketball talk on the show, but before we do that, let's get a recap on what happened this past weekend for Roadrunner Sports. We'll start with some men's basketball as they were back in the Mile High City this past weekend. They first hosted Regis University at the Arellano Event Center, and junior Jaron Taylor scored a season-high 17 points to help pace the home team. But the Rangers scored 51 points in the second half to take the 85-65 victory. The Roadrunners got back on track the following night, defeating Chadron State 79-67. Senior Cameron Williams tallied a team high of 24 points, while senior Bunama Keita recorded 13 points and 7 rebounds to give MSU Denver the win. The team now sits in 3-1 in conference play.
Now for the women's team, they also played Regis and Chadron State at home. Junior Emily Hardigan led the Roadrunners with 14 points and 8 rebounds, but the Rangers proved to be too much for the home team, outscoring MSU Denver 67-51 last Friday night. Coach Haave turned things around the following night, leading her squad to a 56-45 win. MSU Denver defense was on point, forcing 20 Eagle turnovers and holding Chadron State to a season low in scoring. The Roadrunners are now 2-2 in RMAC play.
And finally, we will bring you some results from the indoor track and field team who kicked off their season this past weekend. They took part in the Colorado Mines Alumni Classic on Thursday and Friday. On day one, the Roadrunners saw their long jumpers in action, and Robert Carlson hit a mark of 7.03 meters. Emmanuel Ulam hit a mark of 5.9, while Brianna Vallejos jumped to a 4.64. The Roadrunners got going the following day. The MSU Denver on the men's side, Michael Dyke finished third in the 60-meter dash, crossing the line at 6.9 seconds, while Ezra Bynum finished third in the 60-meter hurdles. On the women's side, the 4x400-meter relay team crossed the finish line in third spot in a time of 4 minutes and 35 seconds. For more results on the meet, visit roadrunnersathletics.com. So now we'll say hello to men's basketball head coach Michael Bahl and his adorable daughters. We finally got to get them on the show. Thank you guys for hanging with us tonight.
No, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so happy you guys are here. So your first opponent was Regis University this past Friday. Their head coach is Brady Bergeson, former assistant coach here at MSU Denver. Talk to us about your relationship with Coach Brady and you two together here.
I've known Coach Brady for a long time. I've known Coach Brady for a long time. He was actually my assistant coach when I played here.
Okay.
So he was my assistant coach for 4 years, so I've got to know him really well. Actually went to high school with his wife as well, Brooke.
Oh, very cool.
Kiefer, but she was a soccer player here. So it's sort of like a full circle in terms of me knowing him knowing me. I've come really close with Coach Brady. He's one of the best in the business. And it was just really good to see him. I mean, unfortunately, he put it to us pretty good. But overall, I mean, me and Brady have a really good relationship.
That is awesome.
Coach, you talk about that game. They had a lot of weapons. Regis has a lot of weapons on Friday night. You guys did a well job holding number 4, Jared Broadbeck, in check for most of the part. And then, but player number 22, Dexter Cienko, and number 5, Christian Little, really seemed to give you guys trouble throughout the game. How do you scheme? How do you prepare for a team knowing that they have so many options to attack you guys?
We tried to do the best we could of picking up the floor and trying to slow Christian Little down, not let him get a full head of steam. But he's a really good player. I mean, he was freshman of the year last year in the conference. He's only a sophomore. Obviously, Dexter's a 4-year senior. And they just, sometimes, we try to scheme the best we could. And it didn't help us that they made some shots early. We were trying to make them take some tough shots early. Dexter made a couple tough shots early over our bigs. And when you give a guy with that talented some confidence, he sort of takes it and goes with it. Same thing with Christian Little. We didn't really make him. We knew he wanted to attack the basket, and we allowed him to do that all night. So we didn't do our job. But give credit to them. They have some really, really good players. Coach Bergeson, like I said, is one of the best coaches in the business, and he had those guys ready to play.
He has you to vouch for it. So sophomore guard Alec Williams came off the bench to score 14 points in the Regis game, and he would also be huge for you the following night versus Chadron. Tell us a little bit about Williams and how he fits into your scheme and how he's becoming more comfortable with the offense.
You know, I mean, Alec's a sophomore. You know, it's a learning curve for him, and I'm incredibly hard on him because he's the future of this program. You know, we try to establish it with him early. He's had some ups and downs just like any young kid normally does. But to give him credit, we had a couple guys under the weather, which gave Alec an opportunity to sort of get back some minutes that he lost earlier in the season. And he was ready for it, you know, so he came in the game. He's instant offense. But the one thing I really appreciate that he did, he was much better defensively than he has been. You know, and that's credit to him. I mean, he's the one who made the changes. And the last thing, especially against the second night, he had 6 assists. 6 assists, 1 turnover. So those are the sort of the things that we've been preaching on him at. And he's that type of player. He's that good of a player. You know, sometimes you need a little nudge, you know, in the right direction. But he was really good for us. I was pleasantly surprised that he was ready to play like he did.
So, Coach, on Friday, Regis beat you guys by, 20 points. How do you get back? What do you tell the guys so the next night you guys can come out and perform the way you guys did against Chadron State? You know,
I mean, anytime you lose, it's the coach's fault. You know, that's what I told him. and I believe it. I mean, I did not have our guys prepared to play, and that's 100% on me. You know, I've got to be a better coach in those situations for our guys. And I told him, listen, we don't get too high or too low on a win and loss. You know, we didn't mark Regis as the national title on our schedule because it's not. You know, it's just another game on our schedule. It's no more important than the games we won the previous weekend at Black Hills and South Dakota Mines. So I said we got to get back on track. 3-1 sounds much better than 2-2, and give credit to the guys. They bounced back. Peter Moeller obviously was a huge help coming back off sickness. He gave us a good jolt, and I thought we was an overall team effort bouncing back from a tough night the night before.
Nice. So speaking of Peter, he wasn't even in the building the night before, and then he came out and performed. How do you feel you monitored his minutes dealing with the sickness? And he did play 31 minutes.
I played him too much, to be honest with you. I told him before the game that I'm only going to play about 15 or 20.
And 30 minutes
that was
later,
the plan.
Whoops.
But I mean, he told me the day before, Coach, if I can play, I want you to play me, and I'll let you know if I can't go anymore. And I trust him. He's a senior. He's been here for 3 years, and I pulled him out early in the game. I said, "How you feeling?" He says, "Coach, I feel great." I said, "Okay, we're going to let it ride then." And we have a really good relationship where I trust him and he trusts me, and I would never put a kid in harm's way in terms of playing through sickness, because it's toughness. That's a toughness thing, and Peter's the epitome of toughness, and he just came through for us. And just him being on the floor, he wasn't full strength, but just his presence, really helped the guys out.
So, Coach, on Saturday, Chadron State was ready to play coming off the loss against UCCS, but we were introduced to Drew Cooks-Husen, who scored 28 points. He just couldn't miss from the field. How are you trying to slow him down or control his attack?
I think it started early again. With shooters, I mean, they make a couple shots early. They get that confidence, and he came out and made one early, and then the next one was behind the volleyball line, and he just made a couple shots early. And you give any good player confidence early in the game, that rim just gets so much bigger. And give Chadron State credit. I mean, those guys, they're young. They have some good young talent. Houston Reed's doing a really nice job there. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think, in a couple years when those kids get a little bit older. But to slow someone down like that, the best thing you can do is just try to, attack him on the other side of the floor. Try to go at him, make him play defense, make him work, expend energy on both sides of the floor. And I thought we did a decent job of that. Not a great job. He obviously scored 28 points. But overall, it's a learning experience for us. But we did a good job on everyone else. So we can allow one guy to go off as long as it's not two like the night before with Dexter and Christian. So I thought our guys battled. Obviously, we need to get a little bit better in that area, because our league's full of a lot of really good players.
So let's bring it back to our team and talk about one of your strengths, senior center Bunama Keita. He played really well in this game. He scored 13 points, pulled down 7 rebounds. He's a big rebounder for you, but you did tell Eric that you are relying a ton on him to be a vocal leader for this team as well. So talk about his progress this senior season.
I think he's our only 4-year guy on the roster, which helps a ton. And he's grown up a lot. You know, he's got a little bit different situation. I'm not sure if too many people know, but he does have a wife back in Senegal. So he's a married man, and he's approached the senior year a little bit different. You know, he's always been a jokester in the locker room and a little bit vocal, but now that he's the starter and he's our main guy, you know, he had to take that forefront, and now that vocalness he's using, he's really just carrying down to some of the younger guys, because we do have a lot of young guys on the team. Kane Van Heineken, he's been here for 3 years, but he hasn't played a minute. You know, Ethan Eds, Kendall McIntosh, some of the younger guys we have. So he's been a really good voice to them. And obviously, I mean, he's the best rebounder in the RMAC right now statistically. Averages 8.5 rebounds per game, which is the best in the RMAC. And that's what we think he can do. And he's done just an outstanding job. And if you know Bunama, he's one of the best human beings to be around.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's just a great guy, down to earth, loves talking, loves people. We're just so fortunate that he's in the program.
That's awesome. So now you head on the road this weekend, but it's not a normal weekend. You see a lot of good things on a Saturday and Sunday, so instead of the Friday, Saturday. So what are you telling the kids to keep them focused, especially with the holiday seasons coming around?
You know, we basically said that we're going to push through this weekend, and you know, your day off is going to be next Monday when we have the mandatory break. But the worst thing, last year we dropped both these games, you know, and that was that's not how you want to go into a long break, you know. So we're going to do the best we can to get these guys focused, especially with finals coming up, that a lot of it has to be, you know, when we get to practice, you got to be mentally focused, ready to go, you know, because these guys do have finals this week, and we want to make sure that academically we finish off strong. But you know, they know what's at stake. You're playing the 6th-ranked team in the country at their place on Saturday. So, I mean, if they need a big rah-rah speech from me, then I think we have a couple other issues at hand. So.
Well, Coach, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and good luck this weekend as you head to Golden and Lakewood.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So, before we take our first break, we're going to bring you our weekly Tweet of the Week. This comes from our MSU Denver Athletics Department, who tweeted about former Roadrunner President Stephen Jordan, who was given the 2017 RMAC Meritorious Service Award. The award was presented by RMAC Commissioner Chris Graham, and the award is presented to individuals who have made significant and substantial contributions to the RMAC. President Jordan was MSU Denver's president for 12 years, and it did a number of great things for the university and for the conference. Well, now it's time for a break, and come back as we talk more basketball and we bring on Coach Tanya Haave.
Don't you worry, my child. Everything's gonna be just fine. Little darling, you keep on walking, 'cause I ain't never gonna leave your side.
As kids fall in love with sports, our universities are working every day to keep college sports safe, so you can watch them play with a little less worry and a little more joy.
I'm Janae Squires-Horton, senior guard for the women's basketball team.
Squires-Horton swishes the long two, and it's a 3-point lead.
When you're watching the Coach's Corner, get rowdy.
I'm Georgia Ordorf, senior forward for the women's basketball team.
And now it's Georgia Ordorf driving to the rim and gets another easy layup.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner, and before we chat with Coach Haave, we want to remind you that the Tivoli Tap House is the perfect place to host your holiday party. They have such great food and even better home-brewed beers, and if you act now, you can get 30% off your entire beverage and food orders. So make it easy on yourself and have that holiday party right here at the Tivoli Tap House. So now we say hello to women's basketball head coach Tanya Haave. Coach Haave, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. It's always great to be here, so thanks for having me.
Awesome, yeah, of course. So with the holidays right around the corner, what does Coach Haave want under her Christmas tree this year?
I would love 2 victories this
Of
weekend.
course.
That's all I need. Yeah, typical coach. That's pretty predictable, but yeah, I would love, especially we're on the road, even though we're in town, we're in Denver, but would love to get 2 victories. I think it would be great momentum for us.
So Coach Haave, this past Friday, you guys took on Regis. Let's talk some basketball now. Your offense never quite found, you know, consistency, points. Regis was just clamping down points on you guys. What do you think, you know, what's your take on that? What do you think went wrong?
For some reason, I believe that we were very tentative offensively. I think we were getting good looks. We got some really good looks. I just think we were a little bit tentative at times offensively. And then I feel like as the frustration builds with us offensively, then it affects us on the other end of the floor, and it just can't do that. If we're going to have a game like that, we've got to find a way to grind it out. So we have to buckle down on the defensive end. But I think sometimes we took some bad shots. Well, tough shots. I won't say bad. Tough shots. Then we come down on the other end, and that's a 4-point swing, and you have 2 or 3 of those, and there you can add it up pretty quickly. Yeah. So we need to get back to where we're attacking and have that attacking mentality. So I think that's what happened.
Definitely.
And Regis, give Regis credit. They took it to us.
Oh, yeah. Well, being an athlete myself, I understand how huge the mental side of the sport is.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when I get in a slump, I know it's more in my head than anything else. So when the team is having issues finding the bottom of the net and the shots are just falling in, what do you do as a head coach? Is it more shooting? Is it calming down the players? Or how do you turn things around on offense?
I think ever since we've started conference, I've noticed that we've been a little tighter, so really trying to calm them down. But I think at a certain point, there was a point where I just needed to jolt them. So there was a little bit of, let's wake you up at halftime on Saturday, but hey, we'll get more shots in practice. And we shoot a lot in practice. I've been shooting more these last couple of years for that reason. I think we just continue with it, continue just saying, hey, you can do it, you can do it. But at a certain point, they're college basketball players. They're going to have to do it themselves too, and I think they will.
Definitely.
So, Coach, after taking the loss to Regis on Friday, you guys came out on Saturday against Chadron State, and while the offense still struggled a little bit, the defense did really good, holding only the Eagles to 45 points. What do you think worked for you differently from Friday to Saturday?
Well, I think we just stayed with it. We didn't let the frustration that we were having on the offensive end affect us on the defensive end. We started to a little bit, called a timeout, said, no, hey, this cannot happen. So we've got to continue with that. And then I think hopefully it was a sign that we broke out of the slump that we had 20 points in the last 6-7 minutes where we were just, hey, let's just loosen up and let's just play. So I thought for a while we were going to let Regis beat us twice. But they didn't beat us twice. In that, the hangover from Regis was going to affect us against Chadron, but it didn't, fortunately. So it was very, very important for us to get that win. Doesn't matter how you win it, it's just that we got the win.
That's always important.
Yeah.
One of the unsung heroes we don't talk about enough is junior Jonalyn Whitwer. She's not going to be the person who puts up the biggest numbers, but she's a reliable starter for you, and she just seems to be that player who can just get it done, whether it's on defense, come up with a big bucket, or rebound steal. Talk about Jonalyn for us for a minute.
Well, you're exactly right. She has been our most consistent performer on both ends of the floor so far. I know she's had a slow start in our conference challenge early on, but ever since then, she has really found her groove defensively, offensively. Like you said, she's not going to stand out, but she's going to get us anywhere to 8 to 12 points a game, and I know I can depend on her defensively. So she's worked very hard in the off season to improve on that, and so like to see just a little bit more. I'm never going to be satisfied, and I don't think our players will ever, but she's been by far our most consistent performer on both ends of the floor.
So, Coach, Emily Hardigan, let's talk a little bit about her. She scored a team-high 16 points on Friday, and double digits the night before on Friday, and 16 points on Saturday.
Yeah.
Coming off that leg injury, season ending from last year, are you slowly increasing her minutes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, especially after this weekend. And I think she's starting to feel a little more confident on her leg. And because she has got an attacking mindset that we need. And as her confidence grows and she gets a little bit more sure of, hey, her knee's fine, you know, it's easy to say that to a player, but for them to actually feel that and understand it, I think she's starting to get there. I thought she had an outstanding weekend as well. Yeah. So we're going to be leaning on her. I mean, that would be the great thing. We've got a lot of people that can score. I think part of what we're trying to figure out is how we're playing together, and that's normal things that do that. We can just sit and play, but I thought Emily had an outstanding weekend. So we will definitely be looking to increase her minutes.
That's great. So you have quite the long road trip coming up. Your next 5 games are on the road. What are you saying to your team to keep them focused, keep their energy up, as they'll be playing some tough basketball?
Right now, we're just trying to get through finals, and then it'll be just a day at a time. And I told them, I'm sure you do, yes, you know. Well, no, this is finals week, so we gave them Sunday and Monday off, and we'll practice. We'll shorten practices just a little bit, but they'll be intense. But I try to tell them, let's compartmentalize. Let's take one day at a time. So you get through this final. Let's get through this hour and a half of practice. Let's get through this game. And then we'll get through the next game. And then I want them to go home and enjoy Christmas. And then we will have a challenge, because we've got Mines and Christian this weekend. Then we go to Mesa. Then we go to Fort Lewis. and Adams State. So that'll be a tough road trip. So it'll be just taking one day at a time, but it'll be paying attention to the details, and we're going to have to grind it out. It's going to be defending and rebounding, and then just really how bad do we want it? How bad are we going to battle? That's what's going to have to happen on the road for us.
Awesome. Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight. Good luck to you and your team as you guys head on the road. More women's basketball will be coming up as we get to know freshman center Losalini Katia up next on the Coach's Corner.
Metropolitan State University of Denver nurtures student aspiration and empowers lifelong success through personal attention and professional experience in an inclusive environment. Located in the heart of downtown Denver, the university offers broad access to a transformative undergraduate and graduate education on Colorado's most diverse college campus. And as a gateway to opportunity, MSU Denver advances the intellectual, social, cultural, and economic well-being of Denver and beyond.
I'm Janae Squires-Horton, senior guard for the women's basketball team.
Squires-Horton swishes the long 2, and it's a 3-point lead.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Jalen Smith, junior guard for the women's basketball team.
And the Roadrunners coming back in transition. Smith all the way to the rack, coast to coast.
And you're watching Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
So glad you're back with us here at the Coach's Corner. But before we talk to Linny from the women's basketball team, we want you to visit and shop MSUdenver.com to find great Roadrunner presents this holiday season. They pretty much have anything you could possibly want, from women's jewelry, men's watches, golf equipment, even hoodies, which are all 25% off. So make sure you make that Roadrunner fan happy this season and shop MSU Denver. So now we'll bring on women's basketball freshman Losalini Katia. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Very good. We're happy to have you on the show. So you come all the way from Wyoming, Australia. So tell us how you managed to make it out here in Denver, Colorado.
Well, I play in the Fiji national team.
Oh.
So I was playing in Fiji, played against some great competition, and Coach Wells saw footage of me online, and next thing I know, I came out on a visit and absolutely loved it, loved the mountains, loved the people, and then just loved the team, so here I am.
What a great fit.
So Losalini, you've been 10 games so far into the season with Coach Haave. What have you learned from her so far and, her coaching you?
The biggest thing I've learned was just like being a good teammate. Like, I'm not getting like court time, but like she teaches you to be resilient, to be great basketballer, to be just a great person in general. Like to back your teammates no matter what, and just to play with heart. Like, she's such a great player. Like, she's been there, done it, and she like her words of advice that she gives us. Like, it's like I've never had a coach just like that's so informed with basketball and just like knows what it's like to be a player and just like knows the struggles. Like, I think we all speak like
understands it a little bit
understands it like a lot better, and just like she's just like, I don't know, like she's just like a great like role model and just someone who's there for you all the time, pretty much. Yeah.
Awesome. So if you go into your bio at roadrunnersathletics.com, it says you won a silver medal in the under-20s Australian national team. What was that experience like?
It was a terrific experience. So I was a reserve that got called up into the side, and our team literally was placed to come last at the Australian Championships. But just being like as a team buying in and like sticking together and playing for each other was what got us the silver medal. Almost gold. But yeah, we played a team that had I think about 7 or 8 national players play for Australia, so they were a stacked team, and we just took to them like every game. We nearly upset them in the pool games, but unfortunately we didn't, and we thought we could get it in the grand final, but unfortunately we were a little short, but silver's still pretty good.
What a great experience.
So Losalini, being your first year here at Metro, you just told us that you love the bounce back Colorado. What are some differences, some things that you miss about Australia, or just how's it different living in Denver rather than back home?
Well, back home, you're near the beach. You're at sea level, so the difference between being at sea level and altitude pre-season was tough. I still get a little out of breath here and there here in Denver, but definitely miss just the seawater, like sea salt. Like, I don't know, like I love the beach. I love being like in the warm. That's like the coldest it gets back home is maybe like 50 degrees. So
yeah,
you know, it's a big difference.
You're in for a surprise once winter comes around here.
Oh yeah, it hasn't even started yet.
Not looking forward to that.
So let's talk a little basketball and get into the games this past weekend. The offense struggled a little bit at home, and as a player, what do you do to try to get out of that slump? Is it just shooting more in practice or game? What do you do?
Well, personally, like, I think it's as much as it's about you and like you're not shooting well, but it's more about the team. So like if we're not shooting well as a team, like we can't do anything at that time. Like you gotta just keep shooting. Hopefully they'll drop. But the most important thing I thought for our team was we just kept each other like we didn't let each other like get down and get like in the dumps. We just like kept trying to cheer, and then it just fell for us. So like we got the last quarter, we scored like 27 points. So you know, like it'll just roll. Like you'll have struggles. That's life. That's basketball. So you just got to keep rolling on.
So Saturday against Chadron State, you guys played and you guys held the Eagles to only 45 points. Right, and the offense struggled a little bit still, but you guys take pride in that defense and rebounding, because that was much better than on Friday.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I can't remember who exactly it says, but like, offense wins games, defense wins championships. So it's like, if you defend, offense will always come. Like, if you defend and you can defend those points, that lead will keep getting further and further, and it'll just be like, we take such pride in defense and rebounding, because that's the two things that you can always control. No matter how badly you're shooting and how well you're shooting, defense is something you can control. You can always rebound. You can do that on the road or at home. So yeah.
Nice. So not every freshman knows what they want to do after graduation, but have you announced a major yet? And if not, what are some things you like to do other than basketball?
Like, I'm currently doing exercise science major, but what I really want to do is something to do with biomechanics. So, yeah.
Very interesting. Do you have any thoughts on that, like specifically?
So, biomechanics is pretty much like you're looking at how your body moves and like you're helping young like athletes. And I'm the most inefficient athlete you'll probably ever see play, but that's why I want to do biomechanics. Is I want to help like young athletes like myself, just like to have technique that's efficient and just like we'll make them more efficient and like less like me.
Lini, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us tonight, and great luck to you and your team as you head on the road. So before we call it a show, let's tell you what's coming up this weekend in Roadrunner Sports. So Lini and her team will hit the short road to Golden and Lakewood this weekend, but it's not your normal Friday-Saturday weekend. It's Saturday-Sunday. First, the squad will take on Colorado Mines on Saturday at 1 p.m., and the Ore Diggers are 4-0 in the RMAC, so make sure you come out and support Lini and her team in Golden. Then Coach Haave's squad will take on Colorado Christian in Lakewood at 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Now for the men, they also play in Golden and in Lakewood this coming weekend. Coach Bahl and his team will take on the number 6 ranked team in the nation, Colorado School of Mines, at 3 on Saturday. And a huge game for the Roadrunners as they get out to Golden, but then they'll also be playing on Sunday as they take the Cougars at 3 p.m. in Lakewood. You can follow both teams at roadrunnersathletics.com. If you can't make it to the game, there will be links there for you guys.
So that will do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. We want to thank Coach Bahl, Coach Haave, and Lini for being with us here tonight. And a big thanks to Javis Arellano for helping me co-host the show.
Thank you, Sarena.
No, I really appreciate
it.
I'm Sarena Espinoza, and we'll see you next time at the Tivoli Tap House.